What's up, everybody? This is Robert, and you are listening to Dads in Real Life podcast. We are two dads, 10 years apart, talking all things fatherhood, from diapers to dream projects and everything in between. Today, we chat with Jake from Home Loans about the life of a first-time home buyer, what it's like to start a business at the same time they were expecting their first child, and what are his daily priorities as an entrepreneurial dad, and tips on doing it all.
A day for at least an hour and a half.
Ooh.
Like I'm
That sounds like ice packs and ibuprofen. That's what that sounds like.
I got an ice
everything
bath.
hurts.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Travis. If you want to come over and use the ice bath, you're welcome to.
You got an ice bath?
Podcast is provided ad-free thanks to listener support. Go to patreon.com/dads in real life to help keep it independent and to get exclusive access to live streams, behind the scenes, and more content every month.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to episode whatever it is of Dads in Real Life. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm excited. I have turned on the caffeine switch on my body. You can just click.
I've got the large coffee. Large coffee.
We're gonna talk about about this later, but I got my water here. We have our very first guest appearance today, and let me tell you,
it's been a long time coming too. It's been a long time coming.
It sure has, and I am super excited about it. There is a whole lot coming, guys, that you should be excited about, and this is the first taste of one of many guests to be arriving on the show. So let me tell you, our first guest today. I'm gonna give you a little announcement. I'm trying to channel what's the name of that guy in the UFC, and he's like
weighing 10 pounds, 24 ounces.
Okay. Oh man, he's a brother of the announcer that's famous in boxing. So both. Yes. I don't know the name. Yeah, maybe our guest knows the name, but
I'm challenged. I'm. You guys know, people who are listening.
Bruce Buffer. You know, Bruce Buffer. I think that's Bruce. It's a BB word. Of course, it's a.
I'm buffering. Then you could say. Okay, so
so bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, we have Jake Kurtz here. Jake is a mortgage loan officer here in Sacramento, and the guy behind the brand Jake from Home Loans. He's helped countless families buy their homes, refinance, or invest in real estate. But what really sets him apart is the way he makes the mortgage process simple and human, and I can attest to that.
Storytelling. Gotcha.
Outside of work, Jake is a husband, a dad to his 4-year-old son. And when he's not helping clients, you'll probably find him on a golf course, maybe a mountain bike, or at a local coffee shop, also of which I can attest to, except for the coffee shop that just shut down. So, bummer. Last but not least, you could also find Jake very involved in teaching music to high school students at his church. He is a man of many talents, and boy, let me tell you, I'm excited to dive into all things dad life and home buying life today. For those of you who might be diving into this world or have questions, I'm excited to introduce you to Jake. So let's bring him on.
Let's bring Jake on.
Jake.
What's up, guys?
There he is.
Greetings, Jake. Welcome to Dads in Real Life.
Howdy.
You know what?
It was Michael Buffer.
There we go. Michael Buffer.
So
Michael
right,
Buffer.
I was buffering.
Yeah, right. You gotta buffer the contestants before you bring them in. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. We're playing around with all types of stuff today, so we could literally go back until the center.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Next time, I'll get better at it. I promise. I'll get better at it next time.
I love it. Oh man. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today, Jake.
Yeah, thanks.
We appreciate you being here, taking time out of your busy day to chit chat about your world, and we're just gonna hammer away at a bunch of questions, and you're gonna answer them as honestly or dishonestly as you want. Not really. That's a lie.
No,
we are
definitely
I got some
definitely
great stories. I've been working on telling stories, so.
Ooh, like it. And the great thing about today is the one thing I was excited about. I told Travis is we finally get another dad here, right? So the whole idea of this podcast is to build this community around men about fatherhood and dads. Whereas up to this point, I think we're like 35 episodes in. It's just like our point of view. And so it's nice that we're eventually get dads on here and then throw a Patreon account, have more dads, so that it's not just us that are resources, but a community of dads with different expertise, different walks of life, different seasons of life, as we like to say. And so we kind of all lean on each other. So with that, Mr. Travioli, take it away.
If for those of you who are just active listeners and not watchers of the podcast, we all have titles, and I didn't have a real formal title, and so I just said gave my nickname Travioli.
There you go.
I have many nicknames, but that one was dubbed upon me, so I feel honored to have it. So thanks, Daniel. If you're listening, thanks for giving me this name. Anywho, hey, we're taking Jake on the journey here of being on the podcast, and so we're going to include him on our first random segment of the day, which I also didn't create a name for. And today we're gonna call it Chaos Out of Nowhere. This is my question for you, and I'm curious if you guys have experienced this in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I was in the shower and I was thinking about this because it had happened like 3 times. Yeah, shower thoughts with Travis. That's what I should have said.
That should have been the segment. Shower thoughts with Travis. There you
go. Yeah. So on this episode of Shower Thoughts with Travis, do you feel like this happens more and more as you get older, or maybe it's as you become a parent, but you just notice it more, with the chaos of having young kids, but things like falling, breaking apart, like spilling in like the most insane ways, like with yourself. So for example, like the other day I was moving something on like the kitchen counter, and I picked up like a bowl of like macaroni or something, and the fork like flipped out, and then I went to like go and grab it, and it literally like hit the ground perfectly in my hand, like it stabbed me in the hand, and I was just like, oh. And then like what I'm getting at is like this kind of thing happens all the time. Like what would happen then is like I would back up and I would knock a baby over, and then turning to help the baby, my pocket would get like stuck on a knob of a drawer and then like tear my pants. Like it's like, they have that in all the movies, but it's real. It is real life. And
it's based on real life.
Can imagine this in your brains happening to you. I want to know if it's just me or if maybe there's like a certain period in your life where that happens.
Jake, if you got something, chime in. If not,
I'm gonna be honest. It reminds me of, do you guys remember like early 2000s commercials when they're like dramatizing all this stuff? Like these actors, like, are you constantly getting stains on your clothes, and people like throwing at each other in a house, and then all of a sudden like a dog.
The dominoes effect.
Yeah, and then it's just something. That's what that reminds me of. Is like I get that. Like, dude, I feel like there's no worse anger in my life than when a pocket catches on a doorknob. Like legit, I get it. It happens all the time, but it is funny. I'm like picturing this like over dramatized. Like I think I saw it was like a storage commercial for cereal boxes. And it's like this thing, and it was like constantly, and they like open the cupboard and just cereal pours out on them, and I'm like, that's what I'm like picturing is like you're like, oh, the mac and cheese and the fork and the baby and the doorknob, and I'm like, what is happening here? That's funny. No.
So I don't know how these things happen, but like that was like an overly dramatic version, but not really, because like almost that verbatim has happened in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah,
like around the house, and so
100%.
Like it's just like this constant, just kind of like a like how did that just happen? I don't know.
Yeah,
I get that,
but I don't feel like that happened earlier in life.
You know what the funny thing is? It's like there's a new type of dad frustration. So first off, was I that clumsy? Probably, but I wasn't aware of it, right? And then you become a dad. And then once I became a dad of multiples and the lack of sleep starts to kick in, that's when you're grabbing like pans that are right out of the oven, bare-handing it, right? Oh, yeah, that's when that's when you're like pouring milk in a cup or juice in the milk, and your attention gets taken and you overflow that cup. So it happens more often than not. But I think the frustrating point is because I think we have that self-talk of like we know better, but we also don't know that we've been on 2 hours of sleep. So I think, yes, has that happened? When has that not happened? I've been a parent for coming up 14 years. It's almost like a daily thing. There's something I'm stepping on or tripping over. And I think with time, I kind of just let it slip. And this is something that Jake and I were talking about like off air. It's just like, hey, fatherhood's really a practice of surrendering, right? You just realize like, that's going to happen. But early on, man, I would get fuming when anything like that. Cause I would say, man, I don't need another thing right now. And this is that other thing, right? So yes, Travis, I see you. I hear you, my friend. It definitely happens.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, it's just like a constant training, I think really is what it is. I mean, if like dads of young children should be at some point like the most patient people ever, right? Because you are pretty much training every day. But I think maybe you just need that to like, I don't know, stay at like a minimum. I don't know. I digress. Jake, can you think of anything specifically that happens to you?
No, nothing like that, to be completely frank with you. No. Like there's some things that happen and I'm just like, going on. But I think to wrap up to what you were saying is like, I feel like dad should be the most patient. And I'm like, I thought I was patient until I had kids. Then I realized I'm absolutely not. Or I'm really patient with people at work and like realizing things about myself. Like I'm super patient when it comes to things at the grocery store, at work, or with other people, but I'm very impatient when it comes to like my children and like
how crazy is that, right?
And it's like something I've personally been working on a lot because it's like you don't really realize that. It's like the grace I have for other people's is a lot more sometimes than the grace I have for my own children or myself or anything like that. So it is interesting. It's interesting to kind of realize that and like thinking you're a patient person, realizing I'm actually completely not. And we go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. I would summarize. I think anybody who's about to become a parent, just know like every single flaw you have will just be really put on display. And that's okay because it's just going to make you a better human being as you work through it.
Yeah. And just like what Jake said about like patience as far as like within the household versus exterior, I think we give, patience to everybody else, especially being in like the service industry, whatever industry you're in or whatever you do for the job, because it's part of the job. But at home, I know at least for me, you feel like your spouse, like they should know I'm tired, right? Or they should know like we have the same schedule. But that's where you're supposed to give even more grace, even more patience, right? Because they're going through it with you. And I think early on in fatherhood, especially like when our first was really young, all of the regular, and I'm putting up quotation signs, discussions we would have late at night would be over the fact. And it was just the fact that we're both blinking red, battery is on empty. And yet we're trying to keep this new thing alive and do our job. And don't forget there's a partnership here. So yeah, I hear you, brother. Like early on, it is more difficult in the household than it is outside the household.
Absolutely.
So, Jake, we threw you in the hot seat right there with random shower thoughts with Travis. But now I want to dive into like let's let the people know what you got going on right now. I introduced you, but give us a little summary of you in a nutshell.
No. So my wife and I have been married 9 years. So May will be 10. So that's pretty crazy. We got married at 20. So that was a decision that we made.
Congratulations.
That we talk about often. That we're like, oh, how did our parents let us do that? Like, what were they thinking? What were we thinking? Like, so we've been married almost 10 years now, which has been incredible. We have our 4-year-old son, Travis. Obviously, you know him. And I'm a loan officer. So I got in the industry 4.5 years ago. Been doing it ever since. Absolutely love it. It's just an interesting way to basically say that like I help people buy homes, and the goal is hopefully without losing their minds. The idea is that I do finance. The way I explain it is like I'm basically your accountant. I work as your accountant. I make sure the money works, and then your realtor works like your negotiator. They're your lawyer. They're there to make sure everything's going to be negotiated correctly, and that's just kind of what we do. So, but besides that, I like the challenge of it. I like the problem solving. It's interesting because every file is a little different. Everybody's a little different. Everybody's experience is a little different. So there's constantly there's literally hundreds of different types of loan programs, and just trying to figure out which one's going to make sense for people's not only goals but also situation. So, and then from there, I mean, outside of work, I'm probably either golfing, mountain biking. My son's just started fall ball again. So we're at baseball now a couple times a week. And he absolutely loves it. Or Rip, hanging out in a coffee shop, that no longer exists down the street from our house, but,
Yes.
that's okay. We love it. We'll miss it. But, I mean, I'm over in Roseville, so there's a bunch of other coffee shops I go to, or just in general, if I'm drinking cold brew, I'm a happy camper. So like, that's all I really
Yep.
need in my life. Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll probably, as you guys are talking, pull some out of my fridge.
Pull some hot. Yeah.
That sounds, I'm drinking a sparkling water and I'm like, it's just not hitting the spot. So,
Mm-mm.
and then recently, I mean, it's not to just keep blabbering on about me and what I do, but
that's what you're here for, Jake. You have to.
Surprise.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I teach music at our church. So, I was on staff as one of the associate worship directors and the music director for a while. So I switched between piano, drums, guitar, vocals. Like if it's on stage, I can, for the most part, do it. And then I kind of transitioned into a role where I'm mostly teaching now. So I work with a lot of students. I'm teaching them, hey, this is how we play on stage. This is how we play as a unit, as opposed to just what you're learning in practice on your own. And then lastly, honestly, like YouTube, Instagram, I've kind of become a content creator, which I love and hate both at the same time. Where it is a lot of, I mean, it's all lending based. It's all for, my work. And it's funny. I was talking to actually another guy yesterday who's pretty big on YouTube. He's a realtor that works in the area, and we ended up connecting through my insurance broker, and we all went golfing together yesterday, and we started talking, and he's like, yeah, it's funny because everybody's like, oh man, you're famous. Like I see you on YouTube. And I had a dude at my church like a month and a half ago. It's like, dude, I saw you on YouTube yesterday. And I was like, great. And he's like, oh, we wish we would have saw you. We bought a house 3 weeks ago. We didn't even know. And I was like, that would have been so helpful. It is really funny because they're like, oh yeah, you're like famous. I'm like, I couldn't care less about that. I'm purely doing this to try to help people like with that next step. Like I want to help people buy houses. I want to, get them into the right programs. Like I want to figure out what's going to work for them and really get them there. Cause no one ever did that for me back years ago. No one ever helped me through the process when we were thinking about it, and we chose not to. And it was one of the biggest mistakes we made. It's like, we wish we would have done it. So that's kind of my goal, is like, hey, how do I get that there? So yeah, content creator as well. Do a lot of stuff on YouTube, Instagram, recently TikTok, which I hate more than life itself. It's just, I can't stand it. But
I don't walk over there. I'm too old.
It's a different pace. Yeah. That swimming pool's too big for us.
Yeah. So. It's real, man. We just got a new social media manager in the office that's like helping out with that and marketing and stuff. And I was like, I'll run my own Instagram and YouTube. I do all my own editing, all my own videos. But I was like, can you help me with this? Like, can you just tell me what to do? I'll make it. You post it. Like, I don't want to touch it. So, that was the 4-minute version of probably something that could have been 30 seconds, but here we are. So
this is how we do. This is how we roll. And, this is real life. We're hanging out, we're riffing. And because we're on the topic, and I mean, this is a huge piece of why you're here. Oh, and here comes the coffee right now.
Yeah, we saw it.
Oh yeah.
For all those listening, there it is.
Yeah, cheers.
I wasn't kidding.
Cheers,
I was
Jake,
absolutely.
Cheers it up to
Salute.
the coffee drinkers out there right now.
Oh, nice.
He's ready. He's drinking. While I ask you this question, which is, well, it's more of just to tee you up to talk a little bit more about this, because we are here in California, and houses are astronomically priced.
Super fun.
And I think the conversation nowadays, I mean, if for people like anybody who doesn't own a house now feels like maybe it's never going to happen, and so, I get to speak from personal experience of working with Jake, which is awesome. But cool. Also, just get to kind of help. I want people to know kind of what I kind of figured out as we went along, because I went from like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be in a house. We were super fortunate. Part of our story is, and I always tell people this, is like, we got some inheritance, and that was a huge blessing. And that was the opportunity we got in order to like get into a house. And so all of a sudden we went from like, I don't think this is going to happen, to like, oh, this could happen. But what I wish we would have done is actually started having a conversation sooner. Like you said, Jake, to get some like knowledge and know-how. And one of the biggest, what I want to do is crush some myths. So if you can think of any of those, by all means, let us know, Jake. But one of the first things is that I just thought, like, I can't talk to a lender. I don't want to until like I have the money ready and I'm gonna like, and I want to press buy. Like, and also I was really intimidated because I thought, the second that I reach out to one of them, like I'm gonna get phone calls for the rest of my life. And I was like, I don't know. And then like, what do I have to pay them? And like, I don't want to waste their time. All these questions were going through my mind. But then of course, like, you know, Jake's doing his thing. And I'm like, I know Jake. I can talk to him. He's a safe guy to talk to. And then boom, like we started going through that process. And I'm like, why did we not do this sooner? So Jake, walk us through like the myths.
Yeah. So there's kind of a couple things that as I've kind of honed in my business over the last couple of years, there's a few like main things that I tell basically every client. First off, get in the door, talk to someone that's a professional in this. As I mentioned, there's literally hundreds of different loan programs. So it's funny because everybody's like, well, I don't qualify for FHA. I'm not a first time home buyer, or like, I don't want to use that. Or like, you know, oh, I don't have 20% down, so I can't go conventional. And it's like, well, you don't know what you don't know, and that's not anybody's fault. But the quicker you go in and talk to someone, like the better you can do with that. So like, as you kind of mentioned, is like they're, you know, to get it started, like some of the myths are, what does it take to actually buy a house? Most of the time, conventional is 3% down. FHA is 3.5% down. So it's very low entry level. And I always tell people there's no other investment you can make, like a stock. You can't buy $500,000 worth of a stock for 15 grand, but you can buy a $500,000 house for 15 grand. And you're not, you still owe the bank back, but you're making equity on the entire thing appreciating. So you're not making equity on the 15,000 you own. If the home goes up 5%, you're not making 5% of 15,000. You're making 5% of 500,000. So it's one of those things I always tell people, I'm like, hey, talk to someone sooner. Like that's the first thing, is that you can get in for a lot less than you think. And especially right now, that's like the number one thing is cash to close. And if you have a good enough income to be able to make the monthly payment, it comes down to cash to close. Number two is it's not.
Hey, cheaper. Just to clarify, sorry to cut you off, but for those of, I'm going to keep cutting in for all of us like myself who are like, wait.
I know exactly what he's going to ask.
That you said that I didn't understand. But I kind of know. So, right, I'm going to either ask you what I don't know or what I kind of don't know.
Pretend that you don't know, Travis.
You said, yes. You said cash to close. So meaning like, what is it? Like you're saying how much cash it's going to take to close on the house. And that involves what?
Cash to close is going to be down payment plus any closing costs. And closing costs are going to be a couple different things.
Ooh, scary stuff. What are those? Yeah.
You have lending fees. So there are fees to use a lender. It's not free to lend money. It's not free to get money.
Oh, man.
There's lender fees. And to clarify, those don't go to me, the loan officer. Those go to the bank, like Capital B Bank, like whoever is doing your loan. Then most of the closing costs, so that's usually anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. That's a very low fee. Most of the closing costs you're paying are title and escrow. So you're paying, like the state of California, you're paying them to record the deal. You're paying them for any of the prelim. You're paying them to make sure the title's clear. That you're paying the title company for that. You're paying your appraisal fee. You're paying escrow impound accounts. You're prepaying, and so there's closing costs usually around $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the home price. And the title company used. Some are a lot cheaper, some are more expensive. And then the last part, usually for first-time buyers, if you're putting, less than 10% down, you have what's called impound accounts. And basically those impound accounts go to pay your taxes and insurance for you. So it's your money. It just has to be put in a separate account. Basically, they don't trust you if you have less than 10% equity in the home. In case you don't make your tax payment on time, now there's a tax lien against the house, and now the lender is the one that gets fined for it and in trouble. And if you lose your house, now the lender's not making back their money. So basically, then there's that last little portion. So usually what you see is about $3,000 to $5,000 in actual closing costs, like the fees. And then anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 or $3,000 to $7,000 in impound accounts, which is just your money going to pay taxes and insurance when they're due. So a lot of those closing costs, usually we say closing costs, we include all that, which is around 2 to 2.5%. So, example wise, obviously, since you guys don't know, since you're pretending like you don't know. Example wise, on a $500,000 house, you know, let's say we go conventional, 3% down is 15,000, and then add another 2 to 2.5% in closing costs. So you're looking around 25 to 27,000 as a minimum out of pocket to get into a $500,000 house. Unless you get, you know, there are things like seller's credits. We'll get to that in the future. I'll talk about that in a little bit because the way we structure things, but that's usually if you're walking into a house, if you have 30,000 on hand and you're trying to buy a $500,000 house, you're basically going to have nothing left over. So that's a lot. We talk a lot about financial planning and kind of, okay, how do we structure this to make sure that you don't end up, if you can make the monthly payment, but you don't have any cash, like where does that end up with us? What's the smart decision moving forward? So,
yeah, because you might be able to pull off actually the action of purchasing a house, but then you end up being, you know, what they call house poor, right? Where you're like, you're dumping all your money into the mortgage and you can't afford groceries.
Yeah. It's like buying the Porsche, but can't afford the gas. Right?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's good to know. That's a lot of paperwork and busy work that I think a lot of new dads or new parents don't know about. Cause you know, you think closing fees, that's like people shaking the hands to make the deal go through, but you don't realize that like, well, with that small down payment, like the state doesn't trust that you're going to be able to make the taxes. Right. And then the bank's like, hey, I don't know if you're going to pay me back. So it actually, it's compounded, right? There's a lot more that goes into purchasing the home than just the initial, like, here's the title, you're a homeowner now.
Right. Well, and a lot of people don't realize too, when you are looking at your total mortgage payment, most mortgage brokers and lenders are quoting PITI, which is a full principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So
and that was just like in 1 year, and then all together I was like, what?
It's the whole shebang. Yeah.
It's all of it. So you're paying your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance all together in your mortgage payment. So let's say, you know, again, $500,000 house, let's say the mortgage payment's almost $4,000 a month. Right now with the rates at 6.5%, that's about what people are paying. So 2,800, maybe 3,000 of that is actually going to principal and interest. The other $1,000 of it is just paying your taxes and insurance. Basically, you're putting them in an account so that when they're due, they pay it for you. So, a lot of people don't realize that too. They're also trying to take into account, well, I have to pay taxes and I have to pay insurance. It's like, that's added into the mortgage payment. That's why it feels so painful when you look at it. It's quite a bit less than what you're actually paying is actually going to the mortgage, but we include all of it in the payment.
And that, you know what, that has been something that's actually nice, just in the sense of talking about, like, I sometimes, like, I'll get that bill or like those that letter that's like, hey, like you owe, you know, it's time to pay up for this. And I go, you know, like the first few times I was like, oh no, Deb, did we do that? Did we pay that? What? That's a lot. And it's like, no. That's coming out of our payments from our mortgage. Like,
you've already paid it.
You just got the paperwork, but that's already done.
Yeah.
So it's all, because there's so much, and this is why you're here. You are our guide through this process, right? If like there are so many things that somebody needs to know, you know, per state, right? Some things are slightly different, I imagine, but like to know all the documentation and the requirements for like the rights to own the house and like like you said, the title and the escrow, all these things that you like, not a normal person doesn't just know all that stuff. That's what you're.
Well, and you shouldn't, you know, realistically, like you should, it's a full-time job for a reason. Like, you know, I'm not going to go to a lawyer and be like, hey, can you give me a rundown? I got a, you know, disposition in an hour or whatever they call it.
Deposition.
Like, deposition. Sorry, disposition. What the heck? It's okay. I'm not a legal guy. I'm a numbers guy. But it's like, hey, I got something to do in an hour. You're not going to go do that. You wouldn't do that with a lawyer. You wouldn't do that with most other businesses. But for some reason, people think they can do it with real estate. And it always makes me laugh when people are like, well, let me just represent myself. I'll save 2%. It's like, well, the reason you're saving like money is because they're actually worth, you know, having a realtor or a lender that's negotiating and helping you pick a program that's actually going to work the best for your situation. It's not, you're not just giving someone $2,000 to open a door or $3,000, you know, whatever that looks like. Like if they're truly working in your best interest, like, I mean, and I want to go back to, you know, kind of finishing answering that last question. You're like, hey, what are the myths? What are the things that's not? First off, I get paid commission. So you don't pay me a cent. I get paid by the bank after we close. So the bank takes and look at interest, and this is going to be super confusing. So I'm so sorry for anybody listening to this. Basically, What the bank does is interest, right? There's something called an amortization schedule. So when you first buy a home, you're paying way more in interest than you are in principal for the first couple of years. And then as you're in the loan longer, you're paying more and more principal every year, and the interest you're paying comes down. So the monthly payment stays the same, but the numbers offset to what you're paying. So based on the amortization schedule, the bank pays me off what they assume they're going to make over the next couple of months. So I get a percentage of the loan amount based on what they're going to make in the next 6, 8 year, 2 years, 3 years on what they're actually making in interest alone. So that's how I get paid. I don't get paid up front, which is also why you'll hear like the myth of you can't refinance before 6 months. That's not true. You can refinance day 3, but the bank would actually come back after me and pull my commission back if it's within 6 months. So it's interesting being in a job like that, where it truly is like it, I tell my clients, I do my best to leave a great experience. And I say, hey, if rates plummet 2% in the next 3 months, you can refi, but refi with me, because I'll be doing it for free. Like it's going to wash. So it's interesting having those conversations, but the client's not paying me. Like there is no payment for coming into my office. I don't charge for the credit pulls. I don't charge for any of the services I provide. I don't charge for mortgage advising or going through and setting up long-term plans. Like I just had a client close last week. I've been working with him for almost 4 years. And we finally closed a house. So, my work has been free for 4 years, and now, I finally get paid on it, which is really cool. Also they became great friends, which is really fun. So, you get things like that, but kind of those myths of like, there's no payment you have, and there's no expectation on my side or rush to put you in a rush, something. If you go through any of my YouTube videos, any of my Instagram, I kind of have 2 like catchphrases that I say, and I say those when I'm in meetings in person versus, on Instagram versus emails. Number 1, real numbers make real decisions. Like this is your numbers and it's going to make sense for you. You need to understand what they're doing. If you can understand them, then you can make a real decision based off it, because there's a very good chance it doesn't make sense to buy, and you should know that, versus just sitting here wondering like, oh, can we not? And that's what a lot of people do, is they look on Twitter for a year and a half and they're like, oh, we can't. Then we get them sit down and like, yeah, you can. Does it make sense for you? Maybe not, but can you? Yes. So that's number 1, is like real numbers make real decisions. And number 2 is it's not my time frame and it's not my money. So like I'm not, working with a good team that's not going to push you into anything is insane. There has to be a point sometimes where it's like, okay, we're not going to waste our time. Like, cause I don't get paid until we close. So like, if you decided you don't want to look, that's fine. Like, let's cut it off for now and we'll restart when you guys are serious. But you have a lot of clients that'll drag it out. They want to see 30, 40, 50 houses. They're keep going back and forth. Wow. We found 5 that are perfect. But each time they get cold feet and back off. Those are clients you do have to have a conversation with of like, hey, I have other clients that also I give my time to. I can't sit here constantly with you and do this. Like you guys call me if you're ready to go check something out. Or for me, hey, we need a mortgage scenario. I'm like, that's fine. It takes me 5 minutes, whatever. When they do that for every single house, when it's the difference of maybe $2,000 in the price, the monthly payment's going to be, you're talking like $6, $7 a month difference. Like I'm not going to run every scenario. Not that it's not worth my time, but just one of those things. It's like, there's so many things we have to do for each client. It's really trying to prioritize, okay, not only who's serious, but who respects our time enough to kind of see what we're doing for them. And that's usually what you see in those ones. It's the people that have less respect for your time because they think you're just making easy money, that are the ones that ask the world of you and don't really understand the value you're bringing. So
that's true in many industries.
Right.
It's almost like you got to pre-qualify potential clients, right?
Oh,
so
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you're shopping around, window shopping, got it. I'm probably not the best guy to ask right now, right? When you're ready to walk into the shop, then, here's my number, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, and something I've started doing kind of to finalize answering that question for you, Trav, is I don't do a pre-approval right off the bat. I do an initial consult. I see if the client's going to make sense for us to work together. So my first conversation is 30 to 45 minutes of, hey, ask me every single question you can think of. Let me put your heart at ease. Let me put your mind at ease. Like, let me show you a couple things and teach you ABC. Then if you feel like it makes sense, we'll go from there. And if not, I'm not going to rush you. I'm not going to force you into anything, but I will follow up with you. I'll check in with you every couple of weeks or months or whatever your time frame is. And we'll see where things go in 6 months or a year. But, I don't want to waste your time or mine. Like, I don't want to run through all my time and, get you pre-qualified and go through your documentation and spend the hours on my end in order to get things running. And especially the last minute stuff when people are like, oh, I found a house today. I need a pre-approval today. It's like, I can do it, but you got to work with me a little bit here. Let's have a good conversation first. Let's just make sure we're on the same page. Like, I don't see it as a waste of my time ever, but I want to make sure you understand the expectations on both sides. And, those are usually the clients, the ones that ask a lot of you, that also don't respect that I have a family, that want to call me at 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 p.m. And I say, that's just not, I know I'm commissioned. I know I don't get paid hourly. And I know that, you doing this deal is going to fund my life. Like, this is literally how I make a living, but also, I do have a certain time frame that I have respect for, and I do my best to keep that. So that I need to stop talking, but here we are.
No, that's the perfect segue to a dad question, to a family question is, how has that worked out for you in this journey of being in the job that you are in balancing? We know this is a constant thing, is balance, right? It's not like you've arrived, but how is that going with balancing the time, the family time with the work time when you don't have that like 9 to 5 kind of thing?
Yeah. It was really, really hard. Cause again, we are fully commissioned, like most, pretty much every lender, mortgage broker, we all are. So I don't make a cent unless I close a deal. So like, I don't have an hour, like I sit at my office from 8 to 5, like, let's say January of last year, I had 3 or 4 deals that were started, but none of them closed. So I didn't make a cent from my paycheck was like January 13th from a deal I closed in December. I didn't close another deal until March. So like I had 8 weeks with the 0 paycheck. So, it's interesting dealing with that. So, as you're in there, it's interesting because I don't work a 9 to 5, but also what is the worth of, okay, where am I going to work with my clients and how? So I do work a job. Like I have 2 consults tomorrow on a Saturday, but I don't mind doing that because they're both clients that I've already had a great conversation with and I know about where they're at. So for me, I'm like, okay, that one's worth it. What's not worth my time is when people text me out of the blue and they're like, hey, I don't have time, or I can't make time for you during the week. And I'm like, well, even just a 10-minute phone call, like, let's have a conversation. And they're like, no, I need you to do it this time on this day. And I'm like, I get that. Totally down to have a conversation with you in the evening if we plan it. Totally down for a conversation on a Saturday if we plan it. But I'm not at your beck and call. And any of those clients are the hard ones. So, but for me, it was really hard the first 2 years in the business because I was working 2 to 3 jobs at a time, trying to make ends meet. So I was, still serving coffee in the morning, working lending during the day. And then I was serving in a restaurant at night. So living off tips. And then after a couple months of that, I got another job. I was doing dental sales. So door to door, I'd walk in a dentist's office and sell like Novocaine. Like literally, like it was like, what am I doing? I did that for about 6 months and absolutely couldn't stand it. And then ended up kind of getting in full time and then also working at my church. And then I was able to finally step out of the church as well. Like I love being there, but I wanted it to be volunteer, not vocation. And so it's interesting because now I'm in a place where the first couple of years, it was whenever I could fit a client in. I didn't care. It was like, we're going to work around it. We're going to do all this stuff. And now I'm very upfront with my clients. It's like, hey, I'm in real estate. My wife's in real estate. We get it. I'll text you back basically anytime. You text me at 9:30 p.m. As long as I'm awake, I'll probably text you back. Don't call me after 7. I do have a 4-year-old. I do also coach baseball. I do also work at our church on Wednesday nights with the high school group. So you will not be receiving texts back from me on Wednesday night, period. Like unless I'm in a break where I can do that. And Thursday nights, same thing. I'm in a baseball practice. I will get back to you as soon as I can. It's pretty much always within an hour or two, but I do set that expectation. And it's funny, once I started doing that about 2.5 years in of like, hey, this is kind of my cutoffs. And like weekends, I'm happy to text you or text me if you need to call me because I may be in the middle of something because that is family time for me. Once I started being very blunt about the cutoffs and about, hey, this is what I need to do, the respect level I had from the clients went way up. Everybody was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you have a kid. Absolutely. And it was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I have family time. And so it was really interesting. And I tell them both in the conversation, like, hey, I am commissioned. I don't get paid hourly, so I work for you. Also, here's my cutoffs.
Yeah,
and
I have a life.
About it. Yeah. Also, like, hey, I'm not only working for you. Like, I don't work for you. I work with you. We're a team in this. Like, you can't do this without me, and I can't do this without you. Like, really, that's how it is.
And so that's This is the point where I look to Rob, because the things that I try and say come out as blah, 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 and then Rob just makes it into this little gold nugget that then we can put on the social medias.
Yeah.
And so we see his face a lot more because he's the eloquent guy and I just blah, blah, blah. But what I'm hearing is that number one, when you were starting off, like you kind of had to like you just had to grind because you were building a foundation, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a season. And so I always think about like, okay, all the guys who are listening right now, who might be in that season, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be there. And sometimes I'm sure often it's very hard to be in that season, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. There comes a point where you have built that foundation. You worked really hard for that.
Yeah.
And now you're able to have that freedom to say, here are my parameters, here are my boundaries, which is super healthy.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what I was also hearing earlier is that it sounds like most of the people who actually don't reach out to you might be just the best clients that you're just waiting to hear from because they're worried, want to waste your time.
Yeah. It absolutely is a hard mix because there's some people that will talk to you and they don't want to waste your time and they'll go to their own bank or they'll go find someone else because they're like, oh, I didn't want to bug you. And I'm like, this is also still my job. Like, so it's kind of finding that in between of like, hey, like, please do bug me. Just understand that my life doesn't revolve around you as a client. And I kind of finding the mix on that has been, very healthy of I do my best to be very upfront with my clients, which a lot of people don't do. I'll tell them exactly what I need from them and exactly what I want. And I'll tell everybody like, hey, I'll be honest with you. You may not like it, but this is how it's going to be. And for me in the finance world, I get a lot more respect for doing that than what I used to do, trying to make everybody happy and try to, bend my schedule and the work and all the stuff around people. It's like, hey, it just is what it is. I can't make the numbers better. I can't make the time better. But like, I can tell you what it is. I can be honest with you and I can help you set a plan on how to get it better. But like
we just talked about this like the last couple podcasts. So Rob's just sitting there going, oh my goodness. Yep. This is
it's spot on. And like you said, I think that's the natural curvature of any entrepreneurial journey, right? In the beginning, we're willing to sacrifice everything for that dream. And then I think as time passes, you realize that that sacrifice may not be worth it as far as like family and friendships. And then secondly, you realize that you really need to teach your clients how to treat you. Right.
Yeah,
so I remember there was plenty of times in my past where I would get that emergency text or that phone call and I would have to say like, this is your emergency, not mine. Right. Like I'm hurting for you, but these are the office hours and this is when you can contact me.
Dude, it's so funny you say that. My wife is my favorite thing she says is she's like, your lack of planning is not my emergency. And I love it because I'm like, spot on. And I've started now, like, it's funny because for years I was like, man, that's kind of harsh. And now in this industry, I'm like, that is 100% true all the time.
It's true.
Your lack of organization and planning is not
lack of planning. That's all it is.
Yeah. And I tell clients that up front too. For me is like, I will do my stuff. Like your responses to me will dictate how quick I work. And I've started telling clients that too of like, hey, I just did your pre-approval. Like everything looks good or pre-qual. I need documents. The sooner you get me the documents, the sooner I get you the pre-approval. What you do not want to do is I am asking for documents today. If you get them for me today, I'll have your pre-approval done and finalized tomorrow. You'll have real numbers. It'll be exact. If you wait 3 weeks and then tell me, hey, I need this tomorrow. I'm trying to put an offer on a house. I'm going to wait for 1 or 2 business days because I have other clients that were actually diligent and did what I asked up front. And I'll tell people that. And it makes people get a little fire under them and they'll get me documents that day because, if you're going to take your time and then rush me, I gave you 3 weeks to do it. Like I told you exactly what I needed and I told you what was going to happen. And if you're going to try to call me the night before on a Friday night at 6 p.m. because you just went and looked at a house and now you want to write an offer for a Saturday when I have 2 baseball games to go to and this other stuff, it's like, I can't, like your lack of like organization when I asked for something 2 weeks ago does not like require me to go through mine. And I've lost clients because of it. And I'm totally okay with that because those are the escrows that when I've done them, they've been an absolute mess because it's always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
And, there's always some sort of blame being shifted. And so it is interesting. I'm not perfect. I definitely make plenty of mistakes in this job, but it is interesting. I was like, I at least am upfront about like, hey, if you do this, I will do this. If I said I'm going to have this tomorrow, I will have it for you tomorrow. That type of stuff. So
yeah,
That's true.
Well, and then the other thing too that I do want to say is like we're talking about you're in the hot seat right now. You're getting questions from a dad perspective, from a husband perspective, from a business perspective, right? And so the other thing I do want to highlight though too that like on the other side of that, right, is pending you are working with someone, like assuming you are working with someone who is really good with respecting your time, like that process for nope, this doesn't sound right because now I'm like setting myself up. Let me tell you about me. Speaking of someone who's so good at communicating and respecting your time, Jake, for myself. No, what I'm trying to get at is you fought super hard for us. That was the cool thing about like that I didn't expect. I mean, obviously you're my buddy, so I know like you're gonna do that, but I know that you do that for everybody, no matter who that is. And it's really cool because you feel like you have this like, well, you are a professional. You have like Batman in your corner being like, we're gonna get you a house.
oh yeah, I don't like being told no. I really don't.
And so it's
It's
really
a team event. It's a team event,
Yeah.
right? Like you got a player on your team who's willing to go hard, on court for you. But like Jake said before, it's like he's giving potential clients plenty of opportunity to see if they're willing to put in the same skin, right? So it's like, hey, I'm willing to work hard for you, but if you're gonna slack on what I need in order to work hard for you, then I think a lot of clients, and this happened in my industry as well, the awareness is like, you're not my only client.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like my day isn't filled with just your home.
Right.
Like there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. Well, and I think it definitely translated to me to dad too, because I think, just on the backside of giving warnings or giving expectations for my son, it's like, hey, like, he's like, I want to watch TV. I'm like, I'll let you watch TV. You need to clean your room, or you need to pick up your toys, or did you eat if you eat dinner and you eat it in the next 5 minutes and not sit here for another 30 minutes, like we've been sitting at this table. I'm like, dude, it's chicken nuggets. Just put them down. Like, like what are we doing here? Like if you finish in 5 minutes, you can watch TV. If you do this, you can do that. Like, that's fine with me. And he won't do it. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's time for bed, or it's time for this, or we got to go now. And he's like, well, you said I could watch TV. I said, no, I said you could watch TV if you did this. If you're not going to do it, I can't be responsible for you not following through with something. And I was very clear, or even with punishments, it's like, well, hey, buddy, if you're going to make this such a huge fit, we were supposed to do this later. I don't want to take that away, but I'm going to ask you one more time to do this. If you don't do it that time, that's your last warning. I will take this. And, having to just be straightforward on that. And it's like, and I hate that what comes to my mind is the discipline, but also, it's that teaching side of like, hey, you have to understand there are consequences for your actions. You're almost 5.
And you have to follow through.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, that's hard.
And I want, and like there's a certain part of that that's not great. And I also make sure to do it with really fun stuff too. It's like, hey, I'm going to let you do this for, let's do the fun part now. We can do this after, but we got to do it after. Like we have to make this happen. Like there are certain things that we just, there are things that we don't want to do that we have to do. So,
yeah.
Actually, a quick tangent on that, and it might have been something that I didn't hear correctly, but it's a parenting question. So you went full-time loan officer about 4 years ago, and your son's also 4 years. Is that kind of correct?
No. So I went full in about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I started in the industry about 4.5 years ago.
Okay. So just around when your son was born, you started in this industry. So let's rewind to that point in time where you're like, dad, for the first time, hey, honey, I'm going to try to go all in on this and do some side hustles until we can do it. What was that time period like? But not to like go too long in the story, more specifically, what's one of the two things we knew it was going to be hard, right? We can't go into that time and be like, oh, it's going to be a cake.
No, it's super stress-free.
Yeah, super stress. So more specifically, what was something that was hard that you didn't expect to be hard, right? We knew it was going to be the grind, the hustling. But for instance, like for me, when I first opened up the gym, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to sacrifice. But what I didn't realize the sacrificing was my relationship with my wife. It was really two ships passing in the night. Right. So what was something during that initial, like, yeah, let's put more plates in the air with having a child now? What was something that you didn't expect was tough? And then what was your solution for that?
That's a good one. I think, the biggest thing that comes to mind is I didn't expect how long it would take to grow my business. Like I thought it was like, I was like, oh, people like me. Like I got a bunch of friends that'll use me. I got this. And Travis was one of the awesome ones that, did that. I had multiple friends that said they're going to use me and then all of a sudden ghosted me and then use someone else. And I see something on Instagram or on Facebook that like, we were close friends, and it's like, it would have, I have no issue with that, but be honest with me, like tell me about it. But I think for me, it was the length of time because I ended up getting started in this and then starting serving in a restaurant. And so I was literally working Dutch Bros in the morning. Because before this, I was a manager at Dutch Bros. I was trying to own my own, and they changed the whole franchising option. So no longer franchising available. Now you're operating now this. So that was like 2019, 2020. We find out. So they changed that in 2018, 2019. I was like, do I want to do this still? Like I was supposed to own my own business. Now I can't. And then found out we're pregnant in January 2020, and then COVID hits in March. And then all of a sudden it was just like, okay, well that my entire life just flipped. So I spent about a year trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? Like, and my wife was in the real estate industry. She was on the corporate side and she's like, you should be a loan officer. I was like, what's a loan officer? Like, I had no idea. We haven't bought a house. Like we didn't know anything. And so started the schooling, and then about a year later ended up jumping into it, so I'm jumping into loan officer. So I'm doing Dutch Bros in the morning, loan officer, mortgage lending during the day. And then I was serving in a restaurant at night. So I have 5 days a week. I'm in at 4:45 in the morning, opening the Dutch Bros till 10 a.m. And then at 10, I go to the office. I come back home at 3, and then I was at the restaurant by 5. So, and each different days. So it's like I had 5 days a week at Dutch Bros, 5 days a week in the office from Monday through Friday. And then our restaurant was closed Sunday, Monday. So I was working there usually Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it's like, same type of thing where it's just like, just constantly like, okay. And I'm trying to get leads everywhere and I'm trying to do this stuff. So looking back, I was like, oh, give me a year in and I'll be good to go. Like I opened up basically opened my own business. Yes, I work for a company, but I don't get paid unless this. So like it is truly my business. I was like, yeah, give me a year and I'll be solid. We'll be making great money. Like, one deal a month will close more than what I made in a whole month at Dutch Bros. Like, that's easy. I just got to get to 2 deals. I just got to get volume. And little did I know just how hard it is to get volume in the slowest real estate market we've literally ever seen. And it's funny because people were like, no, 2008 was. I'm like, no, 2008 came back in about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. By 2010, we were good. This has been 2021, middle to end of 2021, like September when the rates started coming up. This has been the slowest. Like we went from over 950,000 lenders in the entire US. We've gone down to we're at 80,000 this year. We've lost over 90% of all lenders because like the guy that got me into this business no longer is in it.
No longer works.
He was doing $3 to $4 million a month in loans when I met him. Like he was, they were making great money. And so it's really interesting kind of seeing the back end of like now everybody's like tapered off and the people that are still left everybody's struggling still. And so it's an interesting industry to be in because I didn't think it would take me 4 years to build a business that I could count on. This is like the last year and a half has been the first time I've been consistent where it's like, I know I have a big enough pipeline that, I may not have any escrows today, but I'll probably have one in the next week. Or whatever that looks like. And so that was the biggest thing for me. The biggest change that we went through was the financial stress. Up until about a year ago, I don't think there's been a month in the last 3 years, maybe 3, like that I didn't question, was this the right decision? Do I need to go get a job? Like, was this the right decision? Do I need to go work at a bank? I can do the same thing at a bank, but get a 9-to-5 pay and then make a quarter or an eighth of the commission, like almost nothing, but at least I get a bonus. Like I could go do this at a credit union. I could go do this at Golden One. I could go do this at US Bank. Like I could sit in an office all day. And then whenever people came out, I could just do the same thing, but I'd have a 9-to-5 or I'd have an 8-to-5. I'd be working banking hours and all that sort of stuff. So that was a huge stressor on just us is just finances of like, man, we went from both having dual income, no kids, both working full-time jobs to we had a baby. My wife quit her job and then she got her license as a realtor. So now we're both fully commissioned, which is super fun. I highly recommend it to anybody looking to trust God a little bit more.
Exactly.
Your life. But yeah, that was absolutely the biggest struggle was just like, I didn't think it would take nearly as long as it took. And I'm being, I feel super blessed where I'm at now. I'm just really thankful for what God has brought into our lives, but also, it took so much longer than I expected. And I kept wanting in my timing of like, oh, I put in the work. Like, this is what I
So
need.
true.
And it's just not how it happened. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. That was one thing, because I was like, man, similar storyline for me. I remember opening the gym, and I was working a corporate job, but I would open the gym from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And then I would go work my corporate, and
Yep.
then you get out at 4:35 p.m. And then I go back and open up the brick and mortar place because I'm paying rent on a spot.
Yeah.
And this was before kids. So it was like, I was talking to my spouse, like, hey, we could float a little bit if you're working full time, which she was, right? She was working in the school districts. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, why not we throw a couple kids in the mix and see what happens?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Easy.
Yeah, super easy. So yeah, I think, like you said, it's never our timing, it's always God's timing. But yeah, let's test that theory out a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Let's everyone go commission.
Easy.
So exactly. And I think, like you said, I think one of the lessons learned as far as being a dad in that time, yeah, I thought we were going to be, we're going to turn a profit in 6 months, right? And then like 5 years later, you're like, am I still on the path? Am I still supposed to be doing this? And with every ounce of my body, it was like, the answer was yes. And then you lean on, your spouse and friends. They're like, yeah, like it's like watering that seed. Like, you don't want to pull that seed out right when it's about to break. And so you kind of lean on your family, but that can be heavy, right? Your spouse can only take so much of like, hey, I just need another month, or just give me another 6 months.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and like Travis, how long have you been in the house now? A little over 3 years?
Yeah. Yep.
Like 3.5. Like It was like April, right? 2022.
Yeah. So it's been August was the 3-year mark.
Okay.
So yeah. Wow.
So I started in 2021, right? In like May, June 2021. In that time, rates were like 3.5%. I did 2 refinances my first like month and a half in. I had 0 deals from that, like from October. I think I had not a single deal until March of the next year. Ooh. Because rates shot from 3% to 5.5, or something like that. And then Travis, I think, was my second purchase loan. So I was still figuring out what the heck I was doing. Like trying to figure everything out. Like we fought for him. Like I did everything I possibly could just to make it better. And it's funny looking back now, I'm like, I still did a great job even when I was first starting.
I was just going to say,
Travis, earmuffs, Travis. Don't hear this.
There was nothing I would have done differently.
It's like he was like a duck. He was like a duck. All I saw was this pristine guy just sliding across that clear water, and those little feet were churning underneath.
Yeah, but I think you guys were my second or third purchase that I did. Like, and so it was like I was still getting my feet wet and like, okay, what's the next step? Like, who do I talk to for escrow? Like, what are the fees? Like all this sort of stuff, like trying to figure stuff out. And my boss at the time was great too. So, but it is just kind of funny looking back now and being like, thankfully we're still friends. He's not like mad at me and we did a great job. But it is interesting kind of seeing that and be like, wow, like it's so much different then than it is now. And like trusting that process, that feels so much to me. I'm like, that feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like so much longer than 3 years just because of how much things have changed in the last 3 years with lenders and rates and life and, our kids growing up a little bit more together. And like, funny enough, I met Travis in a house church in 2020. My wife introduced me to him. I was like, who the heck is this guy? That's how we all met. So it's just, and that was before I even got in the industry. And then the trust they had to be like, we'll try him out. I was like, yeah, that's huge.
We played badminton together one time previously, like from friends of friends. At the not the Grange, or maybe that's what they called it. And then and fun fact, did you know, Jake, that Rob here kind of professionally played some badminton?
Professional badminton?
If there's such a thing. Yeah.
He dabbled professionally.
I dabbled in junior nationals and competed internationally in high school, but yeah, so it's not your backyard beer sport. When I first met Travis, right? It's like it can be competitive.
Yeah, I absolutely believe it. Have you seen pickleball nowadays? I thought that never. I played that in CE in high school, and now all of a sudden it's like
now there's a league, right? Like so
that's funny.
Another question I had as far as the parenting side of it is like, so as a loan officer, like you've learned, of course, like now we talk like, I got Travis the best I could back then during the fact that I was new. and similar scenarios as far as parenting, right? So before, brand new parent, I read all the books, I had some mentors help me out, but now you're kind of 4 years deep. So if you could rewind the clock, what are some kind of insider baseball or cliff notes you would have, like, if you could give yourself a notebook, like day one, hey, congrats, Jake, you're a dad now. What would the first couple pages of that book read like? What would that have?
First couple pages would be, first off, you're not going to be needed for the first like 8 months.
Like, so true.
You're not a dad.
First off, you don't exist.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm dad.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like you're a dad, but you're a husband first. The first couple months, the first 8 months to a year, you're just in lockdown mode. You're taking care of your wife. It's like she's the one that has to do all the work. Like, you know, it's one of those things. Like you're sitting there, and any new dads, it's like, I wished I could have breastfed. Like I wish I could have helped out more.
I feel like it's like a Ricky Bobby moment. It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, literally. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then you're like, do you need help? And they're like, you can't help. And I'm like,
yeah,
but I want to. It's like, okay, like thanks. Like the first 8 months was a lot harder mentally on me than I think I expected. And just going through some life stuff too. And like my wife and I just had to go through some stuff and deal with some stuff that was like, that was rough. And, you know, there was just a lot of it. I'm trying to figure out what was happening. And I think there was a lot of stress because now at this point in time, 8 months in, I know that I didn't want to continue in the career that I thought I'd chosen. And also I not being able to be super helpful, but like, I love to hang out with my son and like hold him and like, you know, I'll change him. Sure. Let's do that. But also I'm back at work and she's now not, and she
also
quit her
during
job.
COVID.
Now everything's going on me, you know, like after she quit her job, I told her, I was like, we'll make it work without actually really thinking about the finances.
Of course,
like,
we'll make it work.
Make it work. Like literally can't make it work. Like we didn't have enough money to pay everything. And so, you know, going through all that, but I think that's like cliff note number one. And like, I feel like I'm very thankful. I never really went through a phase of like, man, I can't wait for the next one where I didn't take it, like where I enjoyed it. But I do wish I would have gotten more like just pictures and videos of me. You know, me and him and my wife and our son. It's like just kind of getting the place of like, you know, really not just not taking it for granted, but cherishing it. Like the difference between realizing it's good and being like, oh, this is great. Like I'm not like trying to rush the next step, and also being like, no, this is really insane. Like where my son's at now, I'm finally starting to realize that. It took me, you know, my son will be 5 next month. And it's like, I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I love where he's at now. It's so fun watching him. Like he just like out of the blue, like a week ago, started playing with Legos and like loves them. And like literally I brought him to my office on Monday because my wife had a meeting, and I was like, yeah, come on in. We brought his tub of Legos, and usually like we've let him, that's like the only place we really do like screen time is like, he's got a little iPad and we'll let him watch Trash Truck or give him a cookie or whatever he's watching.
Those are two of the best. Let me tell you right now. Dads out there.
I personally watch Trash Truck to unwind. I love that show.
Netflix, Trash Truck,
hopefully
Amazon. Give us a cookie.
So, and he just sat there for like 2.5 hours in my office on the floor playing with Legos. Didn't say a word to me.
That's awesome.
And I was like, it was just so fun watching him. And then I get home that night. He's like, Dad, can you help me build this like a motorcycle? Like there's like a little scooter on the back of it. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I sat down with him and played it. And he accidentally broke it the next day. And I walk in. I was like, he's like, Dad, I'm so sorry I broke it. And I was like, don't worry about it. Do you want me to fix it? He's like, no, can I fix it? I was like, yeah, do it. And so like over the last 3 days, we've had like 16 versions of this motorcycle. Like, and it keeps changing. Every time I come home, it's a different one. And he's like trying to recreate what I created and just like what I initially made. And it's like, it's just so special. Like I literally looked at my wife like that last night. And I was like, he's just so sweet. Like he's so special right here. Like this is such a good time. Like watching him being so stoked to go play baseball and so stoked to play Legos. And he's so excited. Dad, look, I built the scooter again. Like when I get home, it's like, you know, seeing just kind of those things and really I need to be better about videos and pictures of it. So I can truly remember some of that stuff of like, not just like think about it sometimes, but like, no, this was hopefully a core memory for him. And this has become a core memory for me as a dad. Like something I never want to not think about. Like I want to be stoked on the days, especially when I'm frustrated. It's like the days I'm frustrated with, I want to be thinking about like, no, but that, you know, like that's so cool.
I think that's a huge asterisk. If you're listening to this or going to watch it later, I'd go back and play that, because I think that's for all dads, no matter what season, we can relate to the fact that, especially for your first child, everything's new for you as a parent, for the kid. And we have a tendency just to like put out dumpster fires, right? We just want to fix it. And then 10 years passed and you're like, man, and there's that quote from, I forgot the verbatim from The Office. Like, I wish we could be in the good old days when it was still the good old days, right? So
Yeah,
I
wish
wish
we could realize it was the good old days when we were still in the good old days.
yeah. So like as a parent, like now I can
Maybe
appreciate it
not.
more with 3, right? Whereas like, wow, with our first, there's so many times where like with photos and videos, we can kind of remember what it was, but we were just trying to stay afloat, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like now with multiples, like that's the priority. It's like, you want to build Legos? Let's build some Legos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I have an important question. Is it the blue scooter? Like
Yeah,
the
you know
yellow
exactly what I'm
tub?
talking about. The
And
one
was
on
it the
the
handlebars that fell off? Yeah. Did the
Yes.
Yep. Yep. The good old
Yeah.
yellow Lego tub.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the one that's in the little yellow. Yeah, it's on the little instructions. There's no instructions for it. He's like, I want to build this. And I was like, we can figure it out. Okay.
Hey, problem solving is a skill, sir. Problem solving
Absolutely.
is a skill.
Technically, you know, I'll do more tools for the tool belt, dads out there. There is an app that's like the Lego. It's like a Lego builder app or something like that, and you can type in like any description, and it'll give you like the things that like like if you wanted to build that thing and have, and it'll give you the PDF
That's
that you can
legit.
print out of the.
Why did I not know
instructions for
that?
thing.
Downloading that right now.
Yeah, you gotta find it and make it happen. It's so Jake, I realize these rapid fire questions are not quite rapid fire, but it's gonna hit on an important topic I think we need to have on this podcast, and I think it'll be great because some of the dads out there can relate to it. The first question that I had on my list was, what is something about yourself that you're currently working on?
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to advise you to answer in the way that includes me in it, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely, I do.
Oh, I know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. So I'm working on discipline. And with discipline, 2 different things. Number 1, Travis and I are doing 75 hard. We live like a mile from each other. So like yesterday morning we met up. Today he got mauled by a coyote and 2 skunks. But besides that, like
crazy.
We're doing 75 hard together. So 2 workouts a day, gallon of water, reading 10 pages, following a diet. It's been really cool. We're doing it with a couple other buddies of mine, and it's the first time I've ever done it with accountability. I've always just tried to do it myself, and I always failed. I think the longest I made it was like 36 days.
I mean, that's still a long time, but yeah.
It is. I'm proud of that, to be honest, but I'm not proud enough. So I'm like, we got to do it again. But discipline. So, and just in general for me, I heard it put this way, actually on a sales podcast like a year ago, or on a sales meeting we did in the branch. And they were bringing on this loan officer, and they're like, hey, what's changed your business? And she's like, well, I stopped negotiating with myself. I was like, what do you even mean? And they're like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, I stopped negotiating. She's like, when someone tells me they're going to do something, I hold them to it. You know, if my client says, yeah, I'll have you the docs by tonight, I'll text them, be like, hey, where are the docs at? Be like, oh, I forgot. And then it's like, hey, you said you're going to have me by tonight. I can't do my job without you doing this. Or, you know, if you told your wife, hey, I'm going to go to the gym. And then she's like, oh, how was the gym? I'm like, oh, I didn't go. Well, why not? You know, it's like, she's like, well, I stopped negotiating with myself. And this was for business for her, but I kind of took it and I was like, okay, first off, for business for me, how do I not negotiate with myself on if there's things that I need to do that I know are going to grow my business, even if I don't want to. The second is with health. When I stopped working 2 jobs about a year and a half ago now, 2 years ago, when I went full-time in mortgage, I gained about 50 pounds. Now I'm 6'4". So like, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'4". Like I was like 250 at the beginning of the year. And that's the biggest I've ever been by far. I've never been in my life over like 225. And so I carry it well. I don't look huge, but I'm definitely overweight. And that was something for me. I was like, my goal this year was to drop from 250. I want to be around 205, 210. So naturally I signed up for a triathlon.
Naturally. I like that.
Naturally.
In natural succession. No, my boss is a big fitness guy. He's doing a half Ironman. I was like, I'm not doing that, but I'll do a triathlon. I'll do a sprint. So that was actually on Saturday. So I just finished that. I've been training for that for a couple
Congratulations.
months.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You did it.
Funny enough, the dopamine hit, not when I was doing it. I was like, why did I sign up for this? This was horrible. But 2 days later, Monday morning, I woke up and I was like, I need to keep training. I want to do another one. Like, I want to do that again.
That's how they get you. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I literally was like, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to beat my time. So I literally, right before this was on, like a fitness website, like Total Body Fitness. They run all the triathlons up here, and looking at, they have duathlons, they have triathlons, they have 5Ks, they have 10Ks. And it was a decently long, honestly, the swim felt great. I did 3/4 mile swim, 11-mile bike.
Nice.
Those were both easy. I breezed through them. I hate running. I absolutely cannot stand it. It was a 5-mile run.
Yeah.
I did like anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 minute run, and then like a 2-minute walk, and then a 2-minute run. So I finished in 2.5 hours. My bike was
that's awesome.
11 miles in like 35 minutes. I was booking it on the bike. My swim was like less than 30 minutes. And then my run was like an hour 15. And I was like, I should be able to do 5 miles in way less than an hour 15. But with that being said, that brings us to the next thing. Finished that Saturday, had Sunday off. And then me, Trav, and a couple other guys started 75 hard. And so I went from 252 or 253 at the beginning of the year to I'm down to about 230 right now. And then I want to bring it down to, that 205, 210 by the end of the year. And so that's kind of why I was like doing this. Me and one of the other guys in my office were like, you know what? There's never going to be a good time. We might as well just do it now. Let's get it going. Let's get a couple guys in. Let's get some accountability. So my long-winded answer on your rapid fire question is I'm working on discipline, and with discipline, accountability, and specifically in a life of fitness. I don't want to be the dad that comes home and sits on the couch. I want to be the dad that's excited to go play with my kid.
100%. 100%.
Heck
That's awesome. Yeah. I remember a couple weeks ago, Travis, like, Jake's trying to get me into something, and I'm not sure.
Like a week ago, man. I gave him no idea. I think I called him Friday, and I was like, hey, you ever heard of hard? He's like, no. I was like, you're doing it. And he's like, I don't know. I got to talk to Deb. I was like,
I think within 24 hours, he was like,
don't. I was like, yeah, literally. I was like, you either do it or you don't.
Going for a run.
Hey, he's been killing it. He's been on it every day, waking up at 5, going out. I can't even
4:30. It's 4:30. It matters at that time.
You're killing it. You're absolutely killing it. Keep it up.
Accountability goes a long way. Like discipline is easy to talk about in hindsight, right? Yeah. But kind of getting back on the horse, like that magic rub is going to be doing it with a group of guys, like having that accountability to know that, hey, I don't feel like ... Well, it's not a feeling. Travis is texting you right now. Right. So it's one of those things. That's what's going to carry you past the finish line. It's going to be the group. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. And it's, we are cut from the same cloth. Jake and I are like, have the same personality. It's like, if I'm going to do this, I got to have like a challenge. I got to have like a marker, like
I need to know there's an end time.
Yeah.
Yep. I need to know what the goal is. If there's no goal, I won't do it.
And so then it's like, you just have to, we just have to keep, we're the kind you just have to keep doing the next challenge maybe.
And that's why it worked for me training for a triathlon. I was like, I know I have this much time to get here.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have that, there's no way I'd go running 3 times a week if I didn't have to do it.
No.
Like absolutely not.
Race days coming up. Yeah. Race days coming up.
I don't want to be embarrassed. Like, I don't like I'm the same way on the stage when I do music. I'm like, you can put me on any instrument. I'll figure it out. I'm not going to look dumb. Like I'll make it sound good. I don't care what it is. Like I'll make it sound okay. So,
man. Yay. Hey, you should don't get talking about music too much. You're going to have to do some more with our jingles, because my intro jingle that I made.
That's all Travis.
Don't associate me with that.
That
was a Travis special. I just put it in post-production. That's all I did.
That's funny.
So if you have cooler ideas, we're all on board for that. But it's I also, because there's probably some dads out there that are like, more type A, and they're like the David Goggins or the Jocko Willinks of the world, and they're like, you make sure you do it right. You're like, so technically I'm doing like I'm doing the 75 medium and a half kind of, because I'm not like, I wanted this to be realistic. And I thought this was really, Rob is good at this. This is what Rob is like the pro at when it comes to coaching. He's like, it's the, like, how do we scale this so it's realistic? How do we do this in a manner that's going to facilitate you continuing on a regular basis, and it's going to become a habit.
Yes.
And so I was kind of wrestling with this while he was asking me to do it, because I was trying to figure out like, okay, how am I going to practically pull this off? Yes, I want to do it. And one of the guys in the text, in the best way possible, said, like something along the lines of like, there's always a reason to say no, but you got to just commit, And I was like, yes. I understand the heart in that, but also how do I say this without sounding like I'm making up an excuse, right? I don't know how to do that, but really, like, I realized, like, okay, if I want to be a better reader. I want to be a guy who exercises regularly. I want to be a guy who eats healthy. But to say that I'm going to do all of it when I've been doing none of it, was like, I'm going to have to give a little on something, right? So like for the diet portion, this is just for everybody, anybody who is out there going like, oh, yeah, I heard about that 75 hard thing. I'm not gonna do that. Like for the diet portion, it's like, it's just tracking my food, and I didn't realize until like literally the morning of we started, and I realized like it said like no alcohol. It's one of the other ones. And I was like, I just bought a bunch of this like beer at Trader Joe's that I was going to try, taste test. I'm not drinking on a regular basis. I'm going through the Joseph's Brew, like the different Bavarian stuff right now. I mean, we're almost at Oktoberfest. Classic solid stuff.
Hey, look forward to it after 75 days. Right now, it's like aged beer, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll let you do that.
I'll let that slide.
But see, now we started and I still haven't had one. Like, it's not like I wasn't like, well, but I need my daily pills, I'm just trying to stay like my Pilsner, or whatever. I just, I was like, I don't want the mental load of something like that to throw off the rest of it. Yeah. Success.
That's healthy. And I love that. Yeah. And again, for me, that's why my goal was discipline. It was less of, I need to do this specific thing, and more of, hey, this is a good challenge that we can keep track of in an app that we can all do together at the same time. That's nationwide. It's huge. So it's like, I've been hearing about this for months, if not years, from a lot of people. And I've done it a couple times since 2022. And it's funny looking back. So the app actually keeps all your tracking from any time you've done it. So I've started it 6 different times, and I've never once, like, first time was like 36 days. Second time was like 12 days. Third time was like 3 days. And then my last time was like 1 day. Like, it didn't even get past.
And were all those days solo? Just you doing it?
Yeah.
Like
all those times were solo.
So it'll be different this time. It'll be different.
Yeah. But it also keeps your pictures, because one of the things is you have to take a progress.
Oh yeah.
Picture.
You take photos.
Yeah.
And dude, I was like 60 pounds lighter the first time I started it. And I looked back at the photo like yesterday. I was like, I was so skinny, like, holy cow, what the heck? Like,
and I thought it was hard then. Come on.
Yeah. But I'm over here. I mean, to be fair, after the triathlon, I'm in the best shape I've been in when it comes to like cardio and like actual health. Like, I got some extra fat on my body nowadays, but like, besides that, like, overall fitness level is much higher now. So it's nice, because I would say it's much easier for me now, like waking up and having the discipline to do a lot of that stuff than it would have been.
The habits compound. Yeah, the habits compound.
So
that's awesome.
We're doing it. We're out there, guys. So
we're gonna document this too. I mean, I know Travis and I have a weekly chit chat about it, and we'll bring Jake back on a couple times. But there's 70. Oh, you guys are what, 3 days in?
We're
71.
Day 5.
Day 5. Okay, so there's 70 more days of this, right? So we'll definitely check in with the boys to see how the progress is going.
Yeah. I mean, from going from not working out barely at all to like working out twice a day for at least an hour and a half.
Ooh.
Like I'm
that sounds like ice packs and ibuprofen. That's what that sounds like.
I got an ice bath. I'm not gonna lie to you, Travis. If you want to come over and use the ice bath, you're welcome to.
You got an ice bath? Rob's the king of the ice bath. He's an ice bath coach.
Dude, ice bath, it's been great. I don't use it every day, but speaking of, I need to clean it out right now. But
yes.
I used it, like, I did twice last week, like after the triathlon, and
for like $1 million afterwards. It's awesome.
Dude, it's so nice, especially that's a conversation for another time. But
we'll talk about that.
All right, what else we got?
Okay,
so back to the not so rapid fire.
Here, so this one's a little better. I think this one could be a little quicker, right? But you might have to think about it for a sec. So, what is something you want to remind your kid, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Your grandkids. So what would you,
no. What's something like in 10, 15, 20 years?
Not kid's kid. I think he meant kid, because I only one kid.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No.
Edit this out. Rob, cut it out.
Gotcha.
Cut
I gotcha.
Hey,
Okay.
let me read it
go for
again and
Okay.
not sound like I was saying your kid's kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What is something you want to remind your kids 10, 15, 20 years from
Got
now?
it.
What is one thing you could think of that if they watch this in 20 years, like, oh, look, it's dad back in the day. What's one thing you would want to remind him?
You got to put in the hard work. And that's, I am not a patient person. Like I thought I was, but, and I'm patient. It's funny because I'm patient when it comes to people. I'm a really good grace giver when it comes to other people, but I'm not a grace giver when it comes to myself. I'm not patient when it comes to I want things now. You know, I want to make the money that I like the work that I'm putting in. I want to see the money now. Like, and it's really hard working a commission job sometimes where you don't get that. You know, even when I close a deal, I'm not like a realtor that goes and gets a check the day we close it. Mine is anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, depending on when the deal closes versus my pay period. So it's like I can close a deal mid-March, but not get paid till mid-April. So, you know, you got to put in the work and you got to be willing to wait and be a little bit more patient. And I'm saying that because I'm not as patient as I want to be. I think that's number one. And number two, something that it took me probably 26, 27 years of my life to understand, like, and again, to get on the spiritual side, like how I feel like God actually views us as a father. And I think I always viewed him as a coach of like, not like a good coach, like a coach of like, well, you didn't do this, so you don't get that. Like, you know, here's the discipline, here's the discipline, here's the discipline. Like, you know, and the way I read the Old Testament was very much like, oh, go kill these people, not like, oh, I'm saving my children. And kind of like, I think something for me is that I want to show my kid, you know, that I can still have that deep love and still have the discipline for him of like the discipline and the mindset of like teaching of like discipline doesn't mean punish. Discipline means teach. Like that's what the word means. And so understanding, you know, there's so much of that like I never really like my parents were incredible. Like, but I never really understood that about God. And so for me, that's something like more than anything, like my goal is to be better, not for me to be a better dad and a better businessman, but to hopefully push my child more towards like, oh, this is how your actual father loves you. Like, this is how your father in heaven loves you. Like, this is what you need to see from him. So I'm going to do my best to show it to you. And even if I'm not good at that, he always is. Like, this is how it works. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing. Like, you know, hopefully I set that example for my kid in the next 20 years and they look back and be like, oh, the way you raised me, the way you showed me, this is what I saw. You know, that's the angle. Am I good at that? No, but hopefully I'll get better at it. So
heck yeah. Just consistent practice and practice and practice.
yeah.
Well, that's a good one. I like that. Okay. Another rapid fire question. What is one characteristic, one side of you that you don't normally share with a guy that you just met?
Shoot. I know you sent me these, but I didn't look over that one. I looked at the other ones. And I was like,
Yeah.
What am I rapid fire?
And I can give you an example of this. I was thinking about this one. Like whenever I am like, you know, let's say I'm like going to coffee and Rob and I meet up and somebody walks in and Rob's like, oh, hey,
Jake.
Hey,
Come on
Jake.
over here.
Hey, Jake, meet Travis.
Introduce
Travis.
you.
Yeah. Like my characteristic that I set aside is the silliness. But like, I mean, if you get to know me, like I like to be like the light side of things, like just like I'm the silly one. But when I first meet a guy, it's like, oh, hey, you know, like, oh, hey, I'm Travis. So, you know, like I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm totally normal. But then, then you find out later, you know, way more fun than you thought I was. I think that's what I'm trying to do is set the bar low and bring them up.
You know, I don't know. Cause honestly, I think one of my, I was going to say worst characteristics really is it's somewhere between best and worst. It's not in the middle. It's like either one or the other.
You either love me for it or you don't. Like,
yeah. I get real deep real quick. So like, I'll have a conversation with someone and start talking and then just tell them something super personal. And they're like,
Like, whoa.
Huh?
All right.
Wow.
Like I have to hold like even stuff like this. Like you guys are asking me questions. I'm like, I could go so deep into that right now, and I'm like, I don't really want that out for the world. Like
For the whole world. We can wait.
But I'll tell you, like, I'll have a conversation with you. So I get really deep really quick, or it can. And it's mostly personal experience. Like I'm just like, I like being vulnerable. I like when people are vulnerable with me. Like I think I massively overtrust people, even sometimes when I shouldn't. And I think, yeah, just sensitive wise, like I feel like I'm a lot more sensitive than people think. And not with other people, but just with the people I care about. It's like, I get really hurt by the people that are close to me over stupid things. And it's funny because similar to like the way I feel like I give grace out to people that I don't know more than I do my family, it's the opposite with that. Like I give way less grace. So like I'm way more offended by people that are close to me when I'm like, you can say, like you can make a comment. Like I had someone, you guys, I'm gonna laugh at this. I have huge ears. So if you're listening to this, I've always had like since I was a kid, like my ears like stuck way off the side of my head. And like kids in like elementary school would be like elephant ears, like not like in like a mean mocking way, but like it kind of became a little joke, and like it never really bugged me. And then the other day, one of the guys that I work with was showing my picture to like a client. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is the guy you talked to," and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, the guy with the ears." And I was like, and he told me that, and he was laughing about it, and I was like,
hey,
yeah, like the guy with the ears. But and it didn't really bug me. I thought it was funny because I make the joke all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, I got big ears. But it is like
that's why I'm a good listener, right?
Yeah,
that's why
exactly. Like that's why but things like that. I think just sensitivity wise, like I'm not sensitive with people I don't know, but I think with people I do know, I get oversensitive of like stupid things. Like my wife is like, she's a very cut to the point person, like not a big like, oh, emotions. And she's just like, no. Like she'll talk to me, just be like, no, we're not doing that. Or like, why would you think that? And like, not in like a mean way, but like she's truly asking a question. And I get so like, well, I thought it would make sense. And she's like, I'm not saying it didn't make sense. I'm just asking why you thought it. I was like, oh, okay. And I have to like redirect. I'm like, oh yeah.
There's no layers. It is what it is. Yeah.
I took that way too personal. Like I shouldn't have taken that personal. Like she was literally just asking a question. So there's definitely that side of me that's something I don't usually like to share with people because I want to look big and tough on the outside, but I'm absolutely not. I'm a child. So
yeah. Well, hey, thanks for sharing that.
Thanks for sharing that with everyone that's listening. That's awesome.
Yep. And then we need to get to the Patreon level stuff. So I'm gonna end it with this.
I think that's a great place.
One final thing, and then we'll give the Patreon crew some pro tips when it comes to mortgage lending and to buying a house, preparing for that.
Questions to ask. Like that's the biggest thing. Like what are like a couple questions that I should be asking that I can't Google and find, right? Because that's the problem. We think that the internet is the solution, whereas people are actually the solution. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
So
awesome. So
the last question I have is as a dad, since we're on a dad podcast, we'll end with the dad question is as dad, what is one thing that you are proud of?
I'm really proud, like as a father, I'm really proud of my son's spirit. And that's something that I had nothing to do with. That was all God. But he's the sweetest kid. He's got the hardest head. Like the kid will dig his heels in on anything that he decides is worthwhile. And we will fight to the death about it. Like, I mean, just straight on, like, I don't get how he's so stubborn. Cause I was the kid that was like scared to get in trouble. So like, if you said my name funny, I would like, sorry. And like start crying and run to my room. Like I was like, and he's like, I'm like, hey, can you put your bowl in the sink? And he'll just be like, no. Like, no. And he's like, no. I'm like, hey, bud, we're not going to do this tonight. Like, I need you to go put your bowl in the sink. I don't want to. Just straight face. I'm like,
3 hours later.
Literally. And I'm like, well, now you dug in, so I got to dig in. So like, this is about to be a whole conversation. It shouldn't have to be. Like, but on the other side of that, but as an actual dad, like what I'm so proud of is his like gentle spirit. He's the type of kid. We were at church the other day, and this kid across the yard fell down. Didn't cry or anything. He was fine. He just fell down. And Cannon sees him and sprints over to him and grabs him and helps him up. And he's like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, they weren't even playing together. It was just this random kid and went over and helped him up. And then he's like, oh, come play with us. Like, just very much like, oh, come hang out with us. Come play with us. Come do this with us. Like, be included, be invited. Mm-hmm. And that's just how he is with everything. Like, he's very much like, he'll like just walk up and be like, oh, I'm so excited about this, Dad. And like, just so excited, like so gentle and so sweet, like towards other people. Obviously not to mom and dad. He's, you know, can be stubborn, but he's really sweet to us too. And like, he's just so gentle and like with everybody else. Like he's such a great example of just has grace and cares so much for everybody else. And I love that. And I'm so proud of like who he is in that, of just seeing his personality come through. And I would love to attribute that to me, but I know that's not the case. But it's just something that makes me really happy, really proud of as a dad.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Jake, let me tell you, I am very thankful for you giving up your time to be here and to impart some knowledge and to share in the Dads in Real Life riffing today. It was a pleasure and an honor. And if people want to ask
where can they find you?
Where can they find you? Where should they be going to learn stuff and talk to you?
So, I mean, YouTube, I have probably 60 something videos on YouTube. Bunch of stuff on first time buyers. I have a whole playlist for it. A bunch of stuff on refinancing, HELOCs, you know, being able to take out equity on the house if you need it, stuff like that. A lot of loan program stuff, just like, hey, here's good loan programs to know about. I try to do
What's your YouTube? What's your YouTube channel?
Jake from Home Loans.
Okay.
So if you look up USDA on YouTube or on Google for like a year there, I was the the first thing that would pop up on Google was my YouTube video on it. Like
nicely
I had
done,
one go viral, nothing else has, but one did great. So yeah, if you're looking for just interesting, like YouTube is a great source. I'm a big fan of long form videos. I think it explains way more and is way better, and you get to know the person you're listening to. If not, my Instagram, social media is Jake. Also, Jake from Home Loans. That's across the board. TikTok, same thing. And then, but honestly, if you have questions, my favorite thing to tell people is like, reach out, just hit me up. You know, just shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever that is. And you know, I do my best to give everybody the same amount of time a day. So it's like, if you want to have a conversation, I don't need an application. I don't need documents. I don't need anything else. Let's just talk first. Then from there, you'll know whether or not it's going to make sense for you to move forward. Most of the time, I still tell people, hey, it's worth it to do an application just to see where you're at. But like I had 4 clients in the last 2 months people I've been working with for anywhere from 8 months to 2 years. Because, and one that was like almost 4 years, because they started with an application. We worked on credit, we worked on savings, we work on everything else they need. It's truly advising of like, hey, what do you need to do to move forward? Let's put a plan in place and make sure you're comfortable with it so that we can figure out how to do it. Cause this is going to be worthwhile. Let's show you why. So yeah, the text, feel free to, you'll throw my number up there or whatever.
Yeah. We're going to put it in the description of the video on Patreon. We're going to list all the ways to contact Jake for sure. So we'll do that in post.
Cool beans. All right. Well, Jake, we will talk to you later. We're going to send you back to the studio before we get going on the Patreon. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Cool.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, sir.
Choo! And Rob, that was great. Thanks. Thanks for being you. Thanks for asking good questions and for, you know, just making this podcast the Rob part of the podcast. You know, we wouldn't be Dads in Real Life without this us two, huh?
Yeah, and plus everybody else, right? Dad, look at us.
And we wouldn't be Dads in Real Life. Actually, no, I take it back. We wouldn't be.
I know what you're gonna say.
Without everybody, without our families. Come on, let's just start shouting out, you know, all the people that made us who we are today. That's exactly what we needed right in that moment. Rob, you're getting so good
better at it. I'm getting better at it.
Well, hey, like we always say, we're not professionals.
We're not gurus. We're just
two dads in real life.